It is often said that the ground is running out of silver, that there is a silver shortage. However, as you will see in this video, there is no shortage of silver, and silver producers are not minding themselves out of business. Let's take a close look at the silver shortage story. So how did the silver shortage story start? In 2005, Ted Butler wrote an article titled Friedman's Theory, in which he looked at the 2004 United States Geological Survey. You can find this article by searching Ted Butler, Friedman's Theory. In this article, despite claiming that he has looked at reserve and resource statistics for years, and that it was not his intention to mislead anyone or distort the information, Ted Butler took the reserve-based category from the US Geological Survey, referred to it as the world resource base, and then claimed the reserve base was the amount of silver thought to exist in the earth. He then divided the reserve base by the current rate of mining production at the time and suggested that silver would run out in the next 29 years. Using USGS data, if we were to remove and exhaust all the silver in the ground, we would theoretically extract 570,000 tons, over 18 billion ounces, over the next 29 years. At that point, we would theoretically have no silver in the ground, and we will have long exhausted above ground inventories. That's zero below ground silver and zero above ground. Here we have a vital material known to all men for all time, literally disappearing before our eyes, both above and below ground. Since that time, others have modified 29 years to just say silver will run out by the year 2020. There was a link in Ted Butler's article that used to take you right to this very short, 2-page 2004 mineral commodity summary for silver at the United States Geological Survey. However, recently the link was changed, and now it just takes you to a general page at the USGS. When one reads the 2004 survey, they can clearly see that the 570,000 tons that Ted Butler claimed was the amount of silver thought to exist in the earth is the mining reserve base, not the resource base as he listed, or as he stated. If Ted Butler had been really looking at reserve and resource statistics for years, and wasn't trying to mislead anyone or distort the information, one might assume that he would have known that the mining reserve base is not all the silver thought to exist in the earth. It is only a very small percentage of the silver in the earth. One might assume that he would have noticed the note right below the reserve base category in the report that states significant future reserves and resources are expected for major base metal discoveries that contain silver. One might assume he would have noticed the reserve base, the amount that Ted Butler and others have claimed was all the silver left in the ground and was running out in the 2004 report, had increased by 10% from the 2003 report. And in 2004, it was 30% larger than it was in the 2002 report. And in 2004, it was 35% larger than it was in the 2001 report. If Ted Butler had been really looking at reserve and resource statistics for years and wasn't trying to mislead anyone and distort the information, one might assume that he would have noticed in this very short 2-page report that in 1996, 1997, 1998, 1999, 2000, and 2001, the world reserve base stayed at the same level. In other words, the amount he said was running out didn't change over those 6 years. Furthermore, between 2004 and 2009, while Ted Butler and others were claiming that silver was running out of the ground, based on Ted's 2005 article referring to the US Geological Survey, the US Geological Survey was reporting each year that the world reserve base, the amount that Ted Butler and others were claiming was running out, was not changing. It was 570,000 metric tons each year from 2004 through 2009. Again, the amount that was claimed to be running out did not change over those years. The reserve base dropped in 2010, but the reserve base increased in 2011 and increased again last year. Why didn't the reserve base decline? Let's look at what a reserve base is. The reserve base contains the silver reserves, which is silver that has been proven to be there using testing that can be produced for under the cost that it can be sold for. It also contains marginally economic reserves and a discretionary amount of sub-economic reserves, silver that has been proven to be there, but costs too much to mine out at this time. The reserve base does not include undiscovered silver or silver from mine expansions. Let's look at mine expansions. In the USGS reports, the reserves and the reserve base do not include the inferred reserve base, which is the silver that is known to be there, but has not been proven using testing. Because of the cost and difficulty proving silver reserves, the reserves are proven in small quantities as the silver is mined. This gives the appearance that the amount of silver reserves are very low, when actually it is only a very small percentage of the total silver at each mine. This appearance of low silver reserves is often used by people that sell silver to claim that silver mining is running out. To further explain silver reserves, we go to a video on the Lucky Friday mine from Helka Mining.
So, in 2004, we began driving another drift to the expansion area, 1,000 feet deeper on the 5,900 level. This allows us to access more silver over the next 8 to 10 years. It will lower our costs as well, and put us right in the middle of at least another 28 million ounces of silver ore. Of course, we believe there's much more to come after that. And if we know there's much more to come, why don't we show the full life of the mine on our books as proven and probable reserves? That's an issue that underground miners need to explain to investors. And I'll tackle it here, because Lucky Friday is a good example. Take a hypothetical surface deposit. It's relatively easy to put as many holes as you need from the surface to fully define the life of a surface mine. You can then put your 5 or 10 or 15 years worth of reserves on the books. It's a much more difficult prospect with a deep underground vein mine. Not only is it extremely expensive to drill holes that long from the surface, but you run the risk of missing a vein-style deposit altogether. It's much more practical to prove up your reserves from underground, replacing your reserves as you mine them. In the case of the Lucky Friday, rarely have they had more than 3 or 4 years worth of reserves at this 60-year-old mine. Instead, we've proved up reserves over the last half-century just a few years before we actually mine them. With the drilling we've done in the expansion area, we can show you the potential and even the likelihood of this mine continuing on down to levels of 6,500, 7,000 feet and more. This is the drilling we've done, which has identified the resource so far. I'm confident future underground exploration drilling will show us extensive potential for the Lucky Friday. And that's why we expect this mine to continue to be a flagship for Hecla for years to come.
As you can now see, just looking at the reserve and reserve base levels gives a very misleading representation of the amount of silver left in the ground. However, these statistics have been used in misleading ways to suggest that silver is running out, when in reality, the data that is cited as proof is only a small fraction of the available resource. So how much total silver is left in the earth? Let's start with some basic scientific facts. According to the USGS, the Earth's crust is a combination of 92 naturally occurring elements, and silver ranks 65th in abundance, which means there are 64 elements more common and 27 elements less common. According to the USGS, the Earth's crust is about 19 sextillion metric tons, and the Earth's crust contains an average of 0.75 grams of silver per metric ton. Therefore, there are over 45 quintillion ounces, or 1.4 trillion metric tons of silver in the crust. Silver is an element. That means unless it is altered in a nuclear reactor, silver cannot be destroyed. All of that silver is still here. There was over 45 quintillion ounces of silver in or on top of the Earth's crust when the Earth was formed. There are over 45 quintillion ounces of silver in or on top of the Earth's crust now, and there will still be over 45 quintillion ounces of silver in the future. According to the USGS, the total amount of silver mined from the ground before 2001 was approximately 1.26 million metric tons. It is interesting to note that about half of that was mined out the last 62 years leading up to 2001. According to the USGS reports and the Silver Institute, the amount of silver mined out since 2001 is between 200,000 and 300,000 metric tons. Therefore, the total amount of silver mined since the beginning of time is between 1.46 and 1.56 million metric tons from the Earth's crust, which contains over 1.4 trillion metric tons. All of this silver mining in history has mined out about 1/10 of 1% of the total silver in the ground. So silver is definitely not running out of the ground. While the actual amount of silver that can be reasonably assumed to be mined out at current economic conditions using current technology is only a slight fraction of the total silver in the ground, the amount of silver that can be mined out is not in short supply or any way running out soon. Still don't believe me? Ask the United States Geological Survey. Ask the Silver Institute. Ask any silver mine. Ask a geology professor at a local university. Silver mining is booming at record levels and has no sign of slowing down. The next industry report is expected to show that the supply for mining in 2012 hit a new all-time high. Silver producers are not mining themselves out of business. If the total silver in the ground was really running out, demand for silver would greatly increase by those that use silver buying up the remaining supply before it all runs out. Supply would be decreasing while demand from silver users was increasing. This would cause the price of silver to dramatically shoot up. However, this is conveniently explained away in Ted Butler's article, and by others that claim silver is running out, with statements that the silver market is the only market in the entire world that supply and demand do not apply to because there is a massive conspiracy to artificially hold down the price of silver. The silver shortage story has been floated around and modified over and over that it is constantly repeated by silver bugs who never bother to research any of the facts. The story has been modified to state that the USGS themselves state in the 2004 report or the 2005 report that silver is running out, even though the USGS has stated several times that silver production is not running out and is not going to run out. The story has been modified to state that silver is going extinct, or that the USGS state that silver is going extinct, even though an element going extinct is a scientific impossibility. Elements do not go extinct. Silver atoms do not turn into atoms of other elements. The story has been modified to state that the above-ground silver is running out. For instance, it was claimed that the billion ounces of silver that was available to purchase at the time was all the silver that was left above ground. The story was modified to state that industry use or other forms of use for silver will overtake the supply of silver. But the silver industry's own reports show that supply from mining and total supply are at record highs. Industrial demand is flat, total demand for use is declining, and the percent of supply that is going to industrial demand and demand for use is at an all-time world record low. This is the silver industry stating this, not me. There is no shortage of silver. There is not one silver producer or mining expert that thinks silver is running out of the ground. There is not one silver producer or mining expert that thinks there is a massive conspiracy to artificially hold down the price of silver. Please do your own research. Read the geological summaries and surveys on silver here at the United States Geological Survey. Read the industry reports at the Silver Institute here. Watch my videos on silver supply, silver demand for use, silver investment demand, and silver not going extinct. Thanks for watching.